So here we are, Paddy Gormley and Maurice Thorogood. You know who we are. Paddy is the writer, I'm the director of 2020 Visions. But this week we're not going to say a word. We're going to leave it to our audience to tell you what they thought of 2020 Visions.
We had an audio recorder in the theatre every night and we invited people to come up and speak into it. And quite a few of them did. Here are some of the voices.
I thought the show was fantastic. Really good. Yeah, well acted, well written, everything about it was good.
Well, it was a very moving and very sensitive play, beautifully acted and directed, but a really original story. So I'd recommend that everyone go and see it if they possibly can.
It's a very tender play, and the imagination of the play itself really is very, very well thought out. Very cleverly written.
I really enjoyed tonight's events. A really theatrical evening. I loved the language, compelling, mesmerising, and really left the audience, I felt, with a sense of having witnessed a full and dramatic life. And it was also very touching and unexpected, and that's really great because I love to go and see a new play that keeps me guessing rather than being predictable, and that was certainly the case today. And I also found the end really satisfying because all the stories that were bubbling away and creating this sort of miasma of layered meanings suddenly all came together, and I thought, aha, I've got it. And it was incredibly satisfying. So I really thought it was a great evening. Lovely acting, very clear and compelling direction, and really a fantastic evening at the theatre. Thank you.
It was beautifully written. It's lovely.
I really liked the language. I could hear the internal rhymes. I thought it was very haunting language.
Yeah, I particularly enjoyed the richness of the dialogue. I loved the way it ebbed and flowed, and there was a sort of rhythmic sense to it. I just felt it was so well constructed and well thought out. It was a very creative piece.
Being Italian, Venice was magical. It was very romantic in places.
I loved the images, and I loved the actual imagination of going to Venice on several occasions. I just loved that journey. I thought it was wonderful.
I liked the generation aspect of it. I like the sort of symbolic aspect of the necklace that got passed down the generations.
Well, it wasn't a play, it was a work of art. It should be done again, I hope soon, in a beautiful, beautiful setting, really beautiful setting to match it.
And the characters were real and alive, and their journeys were very, very. I could relate to the different characters, but it was just a very interesting story.
I thought 2020 was a brilliant title. I mean, you don't need to promote that because it's so memorable. I always look for about three things in a play. It's got to have humour, and it's got to have drama, romance as well. 2020's got all of those. And the story is told by a very talented cast. Well, what more can you want, really?
I was overwhelmed at how affecting it was. The writing was terrific. It was one of the most romantic and moving plays that I've seen in a long time. Just the idea of looking back on relationships and things become apparent when you look back that aren't apparent at all at the time. And my wife and I have been together for quite a long time, and we were talking about how when we first went out, and it just rang bells and made us realise how fortunate we have been to be together 25 years and how moving it can be when you look back at earlier stages of that relationship. It's very theatrical and yet very, very affecting.
Absolutely marvellous, really, really, really touching play, particularly the way in which the relationships are formed, which you get these very three distinct relationships with the same two actors. That's a combination of a marvellous fluctuation in writing style and the acting and direction too. Very, very superb.
I thought the acting was superb. Just thought they all worked very well together. You can tell that there's a special, empathy between them. There's a bond and a chemistry.
Fantastic performances, and the actors are very good at distinguishing between different characters.
And the actress that played all those parts, they was all beautifully played. It was fantastic because she seemed to capture all the eras, all the different generations. So it was very easy to tell which person was which generation just from the body language and the dialect as well. So spot on.
The actors, I already know them. I forgot I knew them. They were so part of those parts. It was magical. And yes, congratulations to all of them.
I really enjoyed the play. I saw it on one of its early read-throughs, and to see how it's advanced and how the characters have developed was very exciting and beautifully directed, beautifully acted. It was a lovely evening all round. I really enjoyed it. The whole plot line is very different, and you have to concentrate because the characters keep changing, which they did beautifully. I've never seen a play along those lines before, so it was unique.
Oh, it's very good. We enjoyed it a lot. Yeah, the direction was perfect.
Yes.
"2020 has been beautifully developed since I last saw it. I loved the addition of Alec, aged 80, and I was incredibly moved at the end. This play really does deserve a much wider audience."
I cried and laughed and I didn't know which to do first. I thought it was just so incredibly cleverly put together and interwoven. I mean, it was actually really very clever and very touching.
I like the conflict in the second half. I thought it was nice and dramatic.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Second half developed wonderfully.
And really nicely balances comedic aspects with a more kind of serious and really hard-hitting ending, actually. A lot of it took me by surprise. So yeah, couldn't recommend enough.
It's amazing how people sit down and put these thoughts to paper. Where do they get these amazing ideas from?
It's an unusual piece. It's a time travel piece, and it's hard to write something like that. That makes sense and that's accessible. I wouldn't know where to start to do that. That's just great.
You could feel in the audience the level of engagement from everyone. And so often in theatre, that's what it's all about. You can sense in the audience that people are involved.
It was brilliant. I think it gives one so much to think about and ponder over, and it's very deep and very interesting. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
And I thought all the components were excellent. The production, the actors, the writing, of course. It's one of the few plays that I would like to see again, because really needed thought the whole time.
So some of the detail in there is astounding. Yes. I was struck when the turn of the screw theme comes back as the relationships.
Yes.
Yeah, because I've seen it the first time.
It was very original. Yes. It's great.
So well thought out.
Really great.
Really great.
Thank you very much.
Highly recommend. Yeah.
And I've been talking about it with people who'd seen it ever since, really. I thought I'd finished talking about it and then new ideas come in my head. It was a wonderful evening.
Very subtle, very enjoyable. I've got it all now and it fits perfectly. Very clever. Really enjoyed it, yes. It's very good.
I think it's extremely original, very original show.
That was a really enjoyable play, and all the actors performed worthy of the play.
Well, it was a fantastic experience, the 2020 Vision. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I travel quite a distance actually nowadays, but I can absolutely say it was really so worth it. A fantastic content, great narrative, great acting, and a very well picked venue. So hugely enjoyable event, and looking forward to the next one.
So,
it's the end of the series.
Yes, the end of the series, not the end of the production. We hope it goes on somewhere, lives forever. We've had a journey, a wonderful journey, Paddy and I, working together. The result was on the stage at the old sorting office in Barnes, and it has been a joy.
And I've really enjoyed making this blog with you, Maurice, as well. It's taken me into areas of memory that I might not otherwise have reopened. That's been interesting, and it's all fed into the development of this play most beautifully.
Thank you, Paddy.
Thank you, Maurice.